coasts, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now here's WPTV's First Alert meteorologist.
Mainly clear skies, then partly sunny this afternoon and hot. Those temperatures will be sizzling at a high of 89 degrees, almost the low 90s out there. And that could happen for some inland spots, so get ready for some heat this Wednesday. There is a slight chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm along the sea breeze later this afternoon, but any showers that could develop will push towards the west. Then it's dry tonight, but mild. Overnight lows in the low 70s. I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist Jennifer Correa for WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
It's time now for the Casey Ingram Show on WSTU. The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time to call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Welcome back and wonderful Wednesday afternoon. I have a great doubleheader show on tap. But first, I want to thank my sponsors. Commercial Mortgage has been in the industry of small balance corporate finance since 2003. Their focus is on equity, new debt solutions, challenging corporate foreclosures, and debt restructures. Commercial Mortgage never charges a front fee or deposit, and consultations are always free. Areas of expertise include hotels, marinas, office buildings, restaurants, apartments, multifamily, condos, golf courses, home builders, land development, including new and repurposed developments. Call Commercial Mortgage, LLC at 561-310-5295 or visit them online, commercialmortgagellc.com. Don't forget about the best kept secret in Martin County. You can come by boat, car, or stroll the boardwalk to explore what is the best kept secret. It's a boardwalk featuring local artists, an Airbnb, art gallery, boat charters, marina, craft and creamery, craft beers, wine, and my favorite, 24 flavors of ice cream. This is all at the Fish House Art Center. It's located in the Pocket in Port Salerno. A lot of fun to take your friends and family. Check them out online before you head out at the fishhouseartcenter.com, thefishhouseartcenter.com. And also don't forget, Indiantown Marina is one of South Florida's best boat storage facilities. It's located inland on the Okeechobee Waterway, very well, if not the best protected hurricane hull in the area. And they also are a do-it-yourself and full-service boatyard. And if you have a boat, you certainly need service. So if you need any work done or want to do it yourself, head on out to Indiantown Marina, and you can give those folks a call at 772-631-3272. That's 631-3272. So the first half hour, I have repeat guests, but probably the last time as superintendent, Dr. John Millay. Good to have you back here today. So I haven't spoke with you since the announcement that you were going to retire from the position back in February.
Yeah, shortly thereafter. Happy to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of exciting things can happen in a few months. And,
it was surprising to us all, but we all want to know, what are you going to do now?
Well, I'm going to stay here in Martin County. I love living here. I've always said that, and I was always true. So I appreciate and value the school district, love the community, and blessed to live out there on Hutchinson Island. So I'll do something that's works with the community, I'm sure, and I'm still looking for that exact little fit, but it'll be.
So we're going to see you around.
Absolutely,
yeah. That's fantastic. And remind everybody, Dr. Millay was actually selected by the Martin County School Board as the county's first appointed superintendent. Previously, that position was elected, and you came on board, I think that was about September 2020, and you came down here from Kentucky.
I did.
So, and you're a proud father of 3 adult children who were all educated in the public schools, so you had a lot of public school experience. You came down as superintendent from Kentucky as well, and you had retired there.
I had in Kentucky, once you have 27 years in, you can retire. So I knew that I would work another 10 or more years, and I still will continue. It'll just be a little different venue, but I've loved my time. That a lot that prepared me for this great position that was here, and so many good things and good people along the way with our schools, the 25 different facilities that we have here in Martin County. proud of what our principals have accomplished and our students. So
We
before
wanna
long
talk-
next week, we're going to be graduating them.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Again, already the years are flying by. And Dr. Millay, I want to say as well, when you came on board, it was right in the middle of COVID.
It was a little sticky time, wasn't it?
It
We were all in the
truly
middle of
was.
that, managing through
Challenging.
and trying to keep kids in school, and we had some online learning options. But we started back the school year face to face, so most of our kids showed up. A nice percentage were out, but that was a tough little time, and it just shows you you can get through tough times if you stick together, and that's what we did, I think, here, and kept our focus on kids and safety and on instruction. So I was proud of that.
It truly is. We want to talk a lot about your accomplishments and achievements here since you've been here. I know time has flown, and it would have been 3 years here this fall, so just about
Right.
3 full years.
Yeah.
And I know one thing that the paper had brought out and had talked about was burnout of superintendents just across America.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the
Well,
job and,
it's- Sure, it's probably there's a culmination of that and just turnover. For me, it's not really any burnout type piece. It's just a good point. I've had some great opportunities that are going to come up presenting themselves. It's a nice kind of, you look at life in a phase of chapters.
Right.
This has been a nice conclusion. This is overall 30 years for me in this field, and it's 17
Oh, that's fantastic.
as superintendent. So it's a long time actually
Sure
to be a
is.
superintendent. Some just do it for a short stint, and that's their whole time. But this
Right.
is, while it's been about 3 here in Martin, it's 17 total, and it's just been a great ride. I leave it loving it. I love the people. I love what public schools are about, what we mean for our country, what we mean for our state, what we mean for families and opportunities. So I'm happy to be a part. I feel like we've made some improvements. Always work to go. You always have.
Yes.
There was a lot of great things happening when I came. There's great things happening that the staff has been doing as I've been here, and the great things that are to come.
And Mr. Michael Main will be taking over your position, and he's an internal hire, a promotion
He sure was,
from within.
and that made this go even quicker. When I decided that I was going to retire at the end of this school year, I had shared with our board, recommended him. I'd hired him at the end of my first full year here. I brought him over from the Sarasota area, the other west side of Florida, and he's been phenomenal. And I saw that in him. And the first year I had him oversee our principals in our schools directly. He was our executive director of principals and professional standards, so some of those issues he dealt with. And then this past year, when Dr. Ginger Featherstone retired, who was exceptional herself, Michael had put him in that role, and he's just been truly a right arm this past year, which has really helped him be prepared for this. And I think the board saw it, and there's so many good things that we've tried to prioritize and do with the district, and they wanted that continuity. So I think that speaks a lot to the things that we have going on. The board wanted somebody that could not so much add so many new things, but to kind of keep that momentum.
That's right.
And keep our focus on our construction projects, those facilities, keep our focus on relationships, and most importantly, safety and instruction for our kids. So
Right.
I think they liked the
Right.
area where those things were headed. And Michael and the teachers, of course, they all work together. It takes the entire staff.
Well,
they have a good one.
I'll congratulate you on a keen eye, because honestly, everybody I speak with likes Mr. Main. They said
Yes.
he's really a wonderful person to step into this role, because it's big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
So,
he and I have a great relationship, friendship, and people say, "What do you ask him?" I've laughed when I've heard him say it. He'll say, "What's the biggest difference between you and Dr. Millay?" And he'll say, "About a foot," because I'm just a little taller. But we do see things similarly. He's got a lot of great vision and a very friendly, positive person. He has a beautiful family. His wife Colleen, his 4 beautiful little girls. They'll be moving here. They live just not too far out. I think within 45 minutes. They'll be moving to Martin County over this next probably 6 months. So the community's just going to enjoy. They've gotten to know him some, but they're really going to enjoy his whole family. And he's got school-age kids.
We're
His
excited.
youngest is like 4 or 5 years old. And the oldest is, I believe his oldest is 8 or 9. But
oh, that's wonderful.
he's invested with has his kids just as I had 3
Meaningful.
kids going through the school district, and you kind of see that progression.
Well, speaking of height, up until today, Dr. Millay has been by far the tallest guest I've had on the show, but my next half hour, I have somebody that's competing with
He's
you. I think
right
you
there,
guys are,
yeah.
yes, and it's going to be Detective Brian Broughton. So I have a picture I got to share on social media after
Yeah.
this show that you guys, it's fantastic to have you both here. And, right now, before I get into your achievements, I want to talk about one other thing.
Sure.
The political climate, the book bans going on.
Oh, sure, all that. What we talk about the pandemic and all the different cultural type wars that have been going on. And
Yes.
it's not just.
And I don't
say,
think they're a book
locally.
ban, by the way. I think that they're just characterizing books where they belong.
Sure. Well, there's we go through these different phases throughout our country's history. I think it's part of a historic type progression, and legislature changes.
That's right.
People,
Laws
society
change.
kind of adjusts. We've been through a lot, and the biggest, most important thing I think to remember is public schools and what we do locally. We follow the law,
Right.
And we have our local school board that works within that framework to try to carry out the law. And sometimes, it's kind of like that speed limit. Sometimes if I'm running in a
That's
hurry,
right.
it's 45 out there. But if I want to go 60, I'm going to get in trouble.
That's
I
right.
can choose to, but
That's right.
we make the choices to live within what we're supposed to do and look at what the interpretation is. There's always been laws over the history that some like, some don't
That's
like. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And we work within that framework. And if people don't like that framework, that's where they have their elected,
Right.
you vote.
That's
So-
right. You vote for the officials at the state level, right on down to
Sure.
our school board. So
And we work, and when you're in this role, it's a nonpartisan role.
Yes.
I've always
Yes.
done that. We serve, the great state of Florida and the United States of America. This beautiful
Yes.
country we live in. So
Sure is.
making it all work, and we follow the school district follows the state standards. We have a strong curriculum we follow that's approved by the state. So we try to do our part, and sometimes that's hard to understand. People may not understand just how fully many of the decisions are not ours to make locally, but we have to implement them. So.
And with the books, it surprised me. There's actually a statute that the person responsible for reviewing the books in the schools, they can receive a felony if somebody finds that the book is not appropriate. That's
And there you go.
At
the end of the day, at the very end of the day, there was training and guidance, and it's probably been referenced many of times.
Right.
That came from the Department of Education, that's derived to fulfill the statute. Different
Right.
training that says about erring and caution.
Right.
And it could be if it's found that you violate that, a third-degree felony, and that's not what we're about.
No.
And I don't think any teacher wants to take that risk, and it's a lot of pressure. It is a lot of pressure and
ton of
stress.
pressure.
So when we have that type of thing, we err on the side of caution, and I truly believe that in our school district, our teachers, for the most part, making very good decisions, and they want to do the right thing. Once in a
think so,
while,
too.
they may be unsure, and they ask for guidance. We try to give that and make sure we're doing right by our kids. every
It
day.
is. It's a tough thing. We'll move on from the books,
Sure.
but I think there was only 80 that were actually either removed or put into different libraries
And it's
for
not
age
unique
groups.
to,
It's a
to
small
Martin
amount.
County. It truly isn't. That was
No.
going on throughout the state of Florida right now, and I'm sure over time it'll
Yeah.
kind of work its way
It
through,
will.
and there'll
It
be
will.
some type of happy medium, I'm sure.
I hope so, right? Isn't that what
Right.
it's about at the end of the day? So let's talk about some of the proudest achievements that you feel that you have not earned, but made happen over the last 3 years.
Well, there's many things, and I give the credit though to the focus that I've been able to keep with the school board, and then our district leadership team. We're a board district leadership team. But it's all been at the hands of our staff. There's anything that I talk about, our staff has made it happen. Our teachers in the classroom, our bus drivers, getting our kids there, the cafeteria workers feeding them, maintenance and facilities, and our custodians keeping things operational and clean. So all the support secretarial staff. I mean, it's a big operation. It takes all the parts working. So some of the biggest things that I'm proud of, one, I think our taxpayers, I'm proud of them for the investment they made several
Right.
years ago, and the sales tax, because it produced over $100 million, and we've built those two brand new
Fantastic.
schools that are out and open, Palm City, at Jensen Beach. We have Stewart Middle School. If you drive by, it's the new construction's going up on that.
Oh, that's
South Fork, if
fantastic.
you're out there, it's the new gym's going up. The fields are all complete.
Wow.
The district office has a large where we can have the boardroom and
Right.
everything there. That's underway. several projects planned that we have underway for coming up for Warfield.
As you're speaking, I'm thinking, wow, this really has been all in the last 3 years.
Oh yeah, yes, many things.
All these, right.
All those
And
items,
those
and then
schools were
throughout
desperately
that,
needed.
the safety piece that we made sure, we had the safe, secure vestibules, more video cameras where we can keep an eye on who's coming, who's going. The Reaxium system that we have, the crisis alert system, the badges, where every employee can push that, and it can shut our schools down if needed to keep our kids
Thank
safe.
goodness.
So, I'm proud of the relationships we've had with the local sheriff's department and the city police. They've been fantastic. Every day, you'll hear little things with the media. That's the job, to report and inform the public, but those are live happening.
Let's step back for 1 second. How many students are there?
Oh, Martin County, nearly 20,000 students
Nearly
in
20,000.
in our traditional public and our charter schools. That
And with social media, which we're going to be talking about in the next half
Yes.
hour with the Sheriff's Department, with social media, rumors spread so quickly. We just
So
had one
fast.
last week that came up from, I think, Broward County. It ended up.
it circulated throughout parts of Florida,
Everywhere.
and it alarms people. Parents sometimes will keep kids home. You can see why they
Right.
if they get some bad information, they want to be safe. But at the end of the day, they need to know that our schools are the safest. Kids are safer in our schools on any given day than they would be out in a car, just
Right.
or unsupervised at home. Those types of
That's
things.
right.
So there's so many safe things. But I'm proud of our partnerships of how we work
Right.
together. The millage that helped with teacher recruitment. We've increased teacher pay and staff pay. We still have a way to go.
Right.
But we've made some of the biggest increases in decades.
So important.
That's happened even locally. So I'm proud of the work we've had there. And getting this past millage, we had it for 4 years ago, but now it's approved for the next 4 years.
Right.
That was a big accomplishment that we were able to pull off because I think that shows it was the highest approved millage we've ever had, a voter
Isn't
referendum.
that something?
And
Wow.
it came on the heels in a tough time
Yes.
that we were going
yes.
through, high gas prices, but the community believes in our schools, and they invested. So I'm super proud of that.
I think the community understood how expensive it is to live here, especially in South Florida. Our housing, the food, everything, the gas
Right.
prices. When you compare that to other places in the country, it truly is very expensive.
Right, it's a beautiful place to live, but it comes with a cost, and everyone wants to move down
Right,
here, and
right.
it makes short inventories, a shortage of inventory drives the prices up, but it's a great place to live, and I think people recognize that here in Martin County.
Now, Dr. Millay, when you've been in, we're talking a lot about these different positions. That's something that everybody struggled with, not just the school system, but just filling various positions. How has that been coming along for you?
Yeah, it's greatly improved, but we still have a long way to go because just generally speaking, there are fewer teachers that are going in the profession than there were just a few years ago, especially 10 years ago. It's just really changed. There's a lot more alternative type certifications, which work. So there's different paths to get people certified, but the teacher education programs are just not as robust as they used to be. People have more options. They take advantage. They're doing, getting degrees that make them maybe more marketable in different areas.
And I don't think it's the profession
just
where
teaching.
it is not, but it's with teaching in particular. I'll say it's not the profession where you never used to hear of violence in teaching, and now I think it does impact.
Well, there's a lot of
who's going to
variables.
decide where to go.
There's a lot of variables that come into the schools. We
Really?
meet kids where they're at.
Right.
With what they have on, with what they've been exposed to. With their, the emotional issues that they have. And, I share all that. It's
Right.
also saying that our kids overall are fantastic. Really, when you go into our schools, they're well run. Most of our kids are doing exactly what they're supposed to, just like the staff. But families have changed, and there's a lot of modern things that are different. There's things they're exposed to on social media. We can talk about books, honestly, forever. The problem is going to be for the future. That
Right.
was just a one
Right.
ideology type thing. The books are important, but
Right.
the biggest thing for our community and parents to know is that phone. And I think you're going to hear from that sheriff.
We are.
The
we're gonna
social
be
media,
dealing
the
with
pictures that are on kids' phones, how they text, how they communicate. And I'm not saying that's all bad, but it's a lot to deal with. And that's a bigger issue.
It's a lot for all of us to keep track
It
of,
sure
right?
is, because parents are busy. It takes.
That's right.
Parents are different. Families have changed, and they're busy. They're working. It typically takes 2 to run a home, and if there's a lot of fantastic single parents, but they know how hard it is.
That's right.
And I only qualify that it's busy. they're trying to work hard, make a living.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep up with everything, but to be able to check that phone and to know what, you know, a lot of them give their phone to the child because it's a safety. They want to be able to keep up, pick them up.
That's right.
And you hear things. But on the flip side, kids spend a lot of time, and they need to look at who they're connecting with, the platforms they're on, you know, Snapchat, Instagram, the types of conversations they're in. I think it would surprise a majority of families to really look. And when that kid doesn't want you to see their phone, that's all the more to look at it. And I always say, don't overreact.
That's right.
Keep the relationship, have good conversations about what you see. Don't flip out.
Right.
But just talk about it and what's appropriate, what's not. We just don't have enough conversations about that in our homes. But that's the conversation we're going to be having. I think that's going to be the next challenge in the next several years, particularly the next 5, of how we keep coming to terms with that.
I agree, because it's something that expands. We're going to definitely get into this in the next half hour, but it's a frightening thing. Parents, we grew up, we didn't have social media, we didn't have phones, you know, we weren't videoing each other and taking pictures, so it's a whole new world.
While it's our challenge, you know, parents give their child that phone. Not too many kids are doing it themselves, so they have to share the responsibility there.
That's right.
Figure out what can work and put them up a little earlier at night. Where kids have to kind of come off at certain times and have some restrictions on them.
And when and where, right?
Exactly.
That is good advice. And speaking of advice, we've got about 4 minutes here, and
Sure.
there's so much to talk about. But what advice would you give Mr. Main coming into the position?
Oh, well, I guess I'll go back to the work that we've done together first. You know, when I said the board was wanting more to keep consistency of what we're doing, I'm really proud of those reading and math programs that we put in, you know, comprehensive ones throughout the district. We had not had that. You know, getting everybody on the same page, and in reading and math, particularly in our elementaries, our middle.
Well, the reading scores were something you really had to work on and delve into.
We were a little disjointed, and we've brought accelerated reader back, I was looking at some of our point totals now, which manages, kids get points for every book. So a lot of books are like half points, some are 1 point or more. But, you know, many of our elementaries now have got 35,000 points. I mean, we're getting into hundreds and hundreds of thousands of more books kids are reading, which are words. So my advice is, would be, continue that hard work that he's been part of to keep that momentum going there, because of everything I've mentioned about safety and our buildings and relationships, keeping our focus on instruction. That's what we're about. So, we managed all through the pandemic and the different issues and controversies.
Right.
I'm most probably proud of how we've kept our focus on instruction, even through tough times.
Yes.
We've rolled with the punches, and not perfect, but boy, we keep trying. So I'm proud of the staff. And
there wasn't a playbook for COVID, so.
There wasn't. And you know what? We're, as a society, across the globe, it wasn't the first time something in modern day it has been, but it's make us think about the future a little bit and what we can accomplish, and if there ever is something in the future, we can react now.
Right.
If we had to, parents, we have a plan in place that if we had to ever go virtual temporarily, we can do that.
That was incredible to have 20,000 students and be able to homeschool basically
and
each and every one of them.
This week if we had to, so that's how prepared the staff is.
So, and that again was under your leadership. And, Dr. Millay, we're going to miss you. You have been so open in the community and speaking to everybody. I can't imagine what all you're going to do with your free time now. It's going to be a little strange for you.
I'm not one that I can sit around, so I'm kind of, I'm sure it'll lighten up a little bit, but I'll get involved in some different things. And
we'll certainly see you around town, and definitely.
Absolutely.
And I know that the schools, you'll still be a part somehow with them.
Oh yeah, I'll stay connected some way
community.
or another, and I'm blessed to be here. It's a wonderful community, and the business community, the chambers, all those different people.
Yes.
Families, they've been great. I look forward to next week.
Just overall, how do you compare our community? You're talking about that. We do have a lot of I think a wonderful volunteer community that everybody pulls together when something needs to be done.
A couple things, I think there's a lot more need in Martin County. I've tried to raise that awareness.
Yes.
Then I think that's been something pretty good, but there's a lot of generosity here too. And what I've found, I guess 30 years of like this living and education, there's great people everywhere. I was in my last up in Kentucky. There were so many great people. And then you move down, and they're everywhere. You have to meet them, and we all care about kids. Most of them, they have ties to school. We have kids, and parents love their kids. That's what you got to remember at the end of the day. That somebody's little one or that's somebody's teenager that was their baby.
Nothing
and
more
they love 'em.
personal
I
than your
remember
children.
mine, and how much you care about them. So we have to just remember keep the main thing, which is our kids. So.
Mr. Maine, keep the main thing.
That's right.
And always, I hope he has an open door like you always did, and I have a feeling
I
he
know
will.
does.
So,
I know he does. He will, certainly will.
Dr. Millay, it's been a true pleasure. I'll see you around town. I'd love to catch up with you again to find out what you're doing. So, but we'll give you a little time to breathe and relax and decompress.
I'm sure in the coming weeks or months
we'll hook up
have
again
some
and see
conversations,
what you're doing. So,
Absolutely.
Next we are going to have Detective Brian Broughton and Chief Deputy John Budenseek in, and we are going to be talking about social media, folks, and parents, what we need to watch out to, the apps in particular you need to watch out for, and how to protect our children. So that'll be up in just a minute after the break. Dr. Millay, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.